Hello and welcome to Blog Sprout. I'm LJ and today I'm going to go over my month 7 niche site case study income report. So if you're new to this channel, I've been doing a monthly income report for this specific website which started in essentially the beginning of 2022. So I've gone through the monthly metrics and income and I plan to continue this process. So if you're interested, check the playlist and you can see all the previous reports so you can see how the site's been growing. So what this video is going to cover are the major milestones, the number of articles published, the page views, the search console results from Bing and Google, the income, expenses, lesson learned, and essentially everything that I can show you. So the major milestones. So here you can see the goals that I had for month 7. That's supposed to say month 7. And I reached every single goal. I did not think this was going to happen, but it was a very big month for me. So I got over 30 articles, $300 in affiliate revenue, 60,000 page views, got into level 3 for Ezoic, invited to premium, $1,200 in ad revenue, over $18 EPMV, upgraded my hosting, changed my theme, and hired a virtual assistant. So it was a really, really big month. So the major milestones, one of the things I did this month just to test it out is that I bought an old domain that had some backlinks and set up a 301 redirect. I just created a simple category page from any particular page on the old domain and redirected it to that category page. And that was on the 19th of July. So we'll see if that has any impact. Later on in this video, I'll show you the metrics of that particular site that I purchased. This site was purchased just with the domain. I found it on expireddomains.net and it just, the rights to it just showed up. I didn't have to pay anything extra other than the regular domain name. I also changed my theme to GeneratePress. That was on the 13th. It took about 5 days to edit everything. It was quite a pain because my old theme, Rehab, wasn't very easy to change over because Rehab had some built-in features I was using that didn't translate over to GeneratePress, so I had to go through every single article and make sure it was set up right. But in doing so, I also migrated to Leap through Ezoic, so I got rid of all of the speed optimization plugins. I still have them in my back pocket in case I want to change it in the future, but I do want to try out Ezoic Leap so I can keep my plugins at a minimal level. Something that's crazy to me is this month I had a day over $85, a single day, and for me right now that's awesome. It had EPMV over 40. Of course this isn't representative of everything that happened over the whole month, but it's great to see that number so early. I also sold my first high ticket affiliate item. It was a $1,000 item or so that was specifically targeted in an article, and it gave me a $65 commission through Amazon. And the other big news is that I hired a VA to help me with my content writing, and I'll probably go into more detail about that later on, but so far it's been really good, and she's been helping me a lot create some of the content that would otherwise cut into my time. So the major activities, like I mentioned, I switched my theme, hired a VA, but the other thing to note is that Amazon commissions were up for most of July for Prime Day and Prime Month. So that definitely contributed to the high affiliate commissions this month. Normally it's 4.5% or 4%, and it was up like 2% or so from the normal category percentage. And I also was added to Ezoic Premium. So this is all really good news. And that premium is what accounted for those $40 EPMV day. So the articles, even though I was extremely busy, I still managed to crank out 43 articles. I am not sure how, but I did. And I think that overall, the article word count is slightly lower than 1,000, probably closer to the 800 range. So the word count for the articles posted was not as high as 43,000. So let's look at the page views. So what you see here is the overall page views for both Google and Ezoic being reported. And actually in the next slide, you'll see the exact number, but I just realized I didn't update this number. The 67 is about 80,000 for the month of July, but I'm seeing steady growth. It's not quite doubling like it was at the beginning, but that's okay. I wouldn't expect that to be happening now. I think I'm over that initial hump of exponential growth, and now I should just aim for some steady growth, and we'll see. So the page views from Google Analytics, I had about 50,000 users with a total of almost 60,000 sessions, and you'll notice that there are a couple little bumps and blips for the month of July. So what happened? So the first one was a delay in reporting because I forgot to add the Google Analytics when I changed over my theme. So that was all on me. Then the second one that happened, and this is I made a previous video on this, is that when I changed my theme, something happened to my robots.txt and it was blocking all search engine robots from crawling my site. But fortunately, as you can see, I was able to recover that quite quickly once I caught the mistake. So if you're interested in that video, definitely go check it out because I go over what I did and what exactly happened. So the Ezoic page views for month 7, I had a 17% increase. As you see, it's 81,000 down at the bottom, 15% increase in visits. Everything was up except the engaged page views and engaged time. So ultimately, I do want to get those up. Something for my long-term goals is improve the engaged time, because I do know with engaged time you can increase ad revenue. The longer they stay on the page, the more impressions they'll see. And what you'll see is that we had a pretty steady increase compared to the last month. But again, on July 19th, 20th, I saw that dip again, but fortunately I was able to recover quite quickly. So here again is just the overall growth pretty much since inception. And we're really seeing some nice growth right now. Again, a huge dip that was on that 20th, but as you can see, by the end of the month, I was able to bring it right back on trend, which is great. I was very nervous about that. So where's my traffic coming from? You can see I had slightly more coming from Google this month. And one of my theories is that Google actually didn't crawl my site right away to notice that the robots.txt was blocking it, whereas Bing and DuckDuckGo did. So my site got hit much harder from Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo than from Google. So that's something that was really interesting, is I noticed that on my Bing Webmaster tools, and we'll actually take a look in the next few slides, that I lost a lot of traction from Bing because it de-indexed my site sooner than Google did. So let's go into Search Console. So Google Search Console, you'll see that I really started seeing that growth kind of in March. So it did take a little bit of time to get there. But fortunately, I was able to recover from the robots.txt drop. I was really nervous I was going to lose about half my traffic and just stay there, but Google seemed to trust my site again once it was able to recrawl it. And we're now approaching or over 1,200 clicks a day, which is great from Google. Google's one of the highest earning sources, so I'd like to see Google continuing to grow. So for month 6 versus month 7, I saw some nice, even with that little blip, there were some good, there was good increase in the total clicks and impressions. The average position went up slightly. Again, I anticipate next month it'll be a little bit better to account for that little blip. But the click-through rate, everything was up, which is great to see month over month. So Bing Webmaster Tools, so you can't actually see the specific dates on here, but you may notice that this blip for the robots.txt was actually earlier than Google. So I just thought had something to do with me changing the theme, and it wasn't until I noticed on Google that this change was actually occurring because the robots.txt. So if I had investigated it earlier, I probably would have been able to avoid the entire Google blip, but I wasn't able to catch it early enough. But again, we're starting to see at the end of July that traction is coming back, which is really, really good news. So, okay, so here's a little bit better of a representation of that blip. So you can see I started going down around July 17th, and Google really didn't start going down until the 19th, 20th. So that's something that that I think you can take away from this, is that Bing will crawl your site sooner than Google will, and will make the necessary changes. So if you see something odd in your Bing Webmaster Tools ahead of time, I think you'll notice the changes will come to Google slightly after. So SEMRush, this is just a general report of the keywords that I'm ranking for. So I've increased my keywords only by like 1,000%, but you'll notice that a lot of them are converting from informational to commercial, and that's really interesting. So, and the informational to commercial and transactional. A lot of transactional seem to go up, and if you recall, I do have affiliate content, but the affiliate content is informational based. It's telling you exactly what you need. So it's transactional but informational in the case. It's all based on facts rather than like reviews and opinions. So the SERP features from SEMRush, I won 150 some odd featured snippets, which is great. The people also mass remained the same. The image results went up, but I really like to see that featured snippet going up. So the keywords, again, this is just showing you where each of my keywords sit. It's saying I have a total of almost 20,000 keywords that I'm ranking for, and I'm starting to level out in July slightly, but that yellow line is starting to increase, which is showing the 1 to 3 position. So some keyword positions, it says that I have 165 new keywords, which is 10% less than last month. I improved 235, which is a 17.5% increase. I declined only 203, so that's actually less than last month, and I lost less than last month. So other than the new keywords, my keyword position improvement is on a very good track. So Ubersuggest, you can't see this right now. So Ubersuggest says I have the same domain authority of 13, but I added 70 referring domains and 170 backlinks. So what we're going to do is go into kind of the backlinks and authority next. So SEMRush has the same authority as last month of 44, so we have no change there. But the backlinks that are reported, there's about 500 extra backlinks according to SEMRush, and only 12 extra referring domains. So it seems like from the SEMRush perspective, nothing's really changing on backlinks. Again, you'll notice a lot of discrepancy between all of the reporting metrics for backlinks, but one that I'm really going to focus on is Google, because that is probably the most accurate. So SEMRush backlinks, it's saying most of mine are low authority. It says I have one in the 60 to 70, which is good, but sometimes the 6 and 70 are pages like Reddit or things like that have a lot of authority but aren't actually that meaningful of backlinks. So Google backlinks, last month it said I had 81 external links, and now I have 304, so that's a really big jump. And I took a look into these actual backlinks, and they only come from 51 different domains. So the external links, a lot of them, I think 100 of them, are coming from one particular site. So that probably means it's spam or something. But upon further research, a lot of those backlinks are posted on forums and things like that. So Bing backlinks, I just discovered that there are Bing backlinks, so I don't have the metrics for the month prior, but it says there are 16 total referring domains and 56 referring pages. I'm just providing you with this information to show you that there's a lot of discrepancy, but take it as you will. So, as I mentioned earlier, I bought a domain that had 301, or that I created a 301 redirect, and that was specifically to get the backlinks from that particular domain. So I looked at expireddomains.net and found a niche related domain that had a few backlinks. And I purchased it. I purchased for 2 years to do 301 redirect and just at a regular price for the particular domain. So according to Ubersuggest, this domain that I purchased had domain authority of 14. It had 81 referring domains and almost 1,000 backlinks. And as you can see, most of them were follow versus no follow, which I personally like better. So referring domains by domain authority, you can see there's a lot on the lower side, but we do have a couple that are in the 90 to 100 rating for domain authority, which is really what drew me to this domain. So here, I know this is a messy slide. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. But this is just showing you some of the overall metrics from SEMRush for this particular domain. This had an authority score of only 8 with 62 referring domains and 400 backlinks, with 300 of them being follow. Most of the traffic comes from the US, which is right in line with my site. And then here's the distribution again for the domain ratings for the backlinks. And we can see that we have a sum. We have 3%, 3 and 2% coming from 90 to 50 domain authority, which compared to my site seems to be a bit better. So I purchased that link, that domain, and set up 301 redirect. So let's look at the income. So you already know, but it was $2,200 and 73.36. This is the gross income. And this month I actually did have expenses, and we'll go into that later. So what did I actually earn from this $22,000? So the ads overview. So this is a report from Ezoic, and compared to last month, I now have the premium ad partners. So the premium are what are shown here in dark green. The regular Ezoic ad partners are light green, and the mediation is in the lightest green. So what Ezoic claims is that their premium ad partners are simply additions to the regular Ezoic ad partner earnings. And I would say that's mostly the case. I have a pretty consistent line of growth for just the Ezoic ad partners, and the premium were just added on top of that. As you can see, I had one day that was not so good. It was like a $30 day compared to, 60 or so. And that was because I lost significant traffic. But fortunately, by the end of the month, again, we are seeing that revenue come back up. So the actual earnings from Ezoic through ads, which include Google AdSense mediation, it was about $1,800 with a $26 EPMV. So I surpassed that $18 EPMV target that I had. So Google AdSense, of that $1,800, $600 of it came from Google AdSense. And this is a lot higher than I've seen in the previous months. And I think part of that is due to adding Ezoic Premium. I believe that when you add Ezoic Premium, you make the entire environment more competitive. So the Google AdSense ads should also pay out higher because they're competing against other higher ad bids. So Amazon affiliates, I made almost $500 in commissions from Amazon affiliates. I made $475 essentially. And I had an item ordered every day. I had income almost every day. And honestly, it might be every day because the numbers might be so small. But what you notice here is I had one single day that was crazy. It was just like over $70. And that's because I had that $1,000 item be purchased. So that article, to give you a little more information about that article, it's kind of a one-off article that doesn't really fit into my entire site yet. I don't really have much topical authority, but I plan to expand in that category later on, especially now that I had one successful purchase. If I can do that 5-6 more times, like that's some decent income. So it probably is worth spending more time writing those articles, but right now that's not the priority. But I certainly think writing that one article for $65 is definitely worth it. So I'm really happy to see that. So Ezoic video ads, I haven't been paying much attention to this. I've been only making a couple dollars a day from the video ads. With the theme change, as you can see, I didn't really have many of these video ads set up and running when I started, so things just kind of fell off. But I got some help from my Ezoic rep to set some of them up, at least on my top landing pages. And next month, I think I'm going to spend more time getting these ready. So the EPMV for just ads reported by Ezoic was $26.21, and then for Google it was over $30. And that's because Google was reporting fewer visits compared to Ezoic. And then the overall EPMV, which includes the earnings from Amazon, it has a $33 EPMV through Ezoic and a $38 EPMV from Google. So this is where that target $30 EPMV comes from. It's actually the overall EPMV that I'm interested right now. So the expenses, as I mentioned, the gross income was $2,200, but I did have expenses. I updated my theme, I hired a VA. There was a lot going on. Updated hosting. So the expenses were $622. This is the most I've spent on the entire site in just this month. But that's okay, because even with these expenses, I still earned more and profited more than I did last month. So seeing that increase is really, really positive. So the expenses, I got the new theme, Generate Press. I just got a year of it for $59, but I do plan to keep it. So I'll either have to continue to pay month over month for $59 or just purchase all of it up front for like $250. I bought that expired domain, so the 2 years cost me $37.34. That was the expired domain for the redirect. I hired a VA only. She only worked a little bit this month, so it was only total $25. Ezoic Premium, I'm currently in, I think, the 3-star plan. And I opted for a $220 fee for Ezoic Premium, but you did get 14 days free, so like of a free trial. So I didn't start actually paying for premium till July 20th, but I'm still going to include that in this month. And then I got the cloud hosting upgrade for 2 years for $280. So hopefully that upgrade that I just purchased will hold me through until 2 years from now. And I won't have to upgrade, but we will see. So my monthly profit was still $1,600.51. So last month I made about $1,400, so I still made $200 more this month with all those expenses, and this is profit. So the lessons learned. A lot happened this month. Some things good, some things bad. Let's jump into it. So the problems. I had issues with Cloudflare after switching to cloud hosting because the IP address had changed, and since I send my traffic through Ezoic, Cloudflare and Ezoic were miscommunicating about the IP address and where it should be listed and what it comes from. So that took a little bit of time, but I think the solution was to just add the new IP address to the Cloudflare Cloudflare account and Ezoic, actually. I think add the IP address to both of them, and it seemed to fix itself. As I mentioned before, I forgot to add the Google Analytics code when I updated my new theme, so I lost on some metrics for that day. Then the big problem is that I had some pages marked no index, and it took me a while to figure it out because it wasn't just a simple fix of replacing all the robots.txt. Some of the pages were marked index, some were no index. So I had to go through, and at least I wanted to make sure that my top pages were indexed and stayed indexed. But what actually happened is that the main pages that were not getting indexed, I lost ranking because there was no data showing up. I was showing up in the results, but there was no meta tag, no real title, so it didn't look appealing to any type of user, so I didn't really get any clicks. But I had to update the robots.txt files, and then I had to update the settings, recrawl the site, and was able to recover it. Another problem I experienced this month, and I have been experiencing for the last 7 months, is that Ezoic placeholders keep showing up in between lists. I have a lot of lists and charts in my content, and I don't want that happening. So I'm working with Ezoic to try to figure out how I can make a list, be like a single block so that these ads don't show up in them. So lessons learned. Learned a lot from that. It's a lot of effort to change your theme. I had a whole issue with my link structure, with having a blog section, so I had to change and make sure that all of the URLs from the old theme translated over, and I was really worried it wasn't going to work, but it did work. I had to update the placeholders for Ezoic. I had to update the blocks because some of the Rehub theme blocks didn't transfer over, and I had to manually create them and go through essentially 200 articles and fix all those problems. So changing themes is a lot of work. That's a big lesson I learned. But there are also a ton of risks involved with changing your theme. I ultimately wanted to change my theme for it to be faster and more lightweight, but you also have to worry about the data structure, the schema, the URL. You risk changing your rankings due to the sites crawling your site slightly differently, or the robots crawling your site slightly differently because it's written completely differently. And of course there's risks in revenue, and Ezoic did not recommend that I transfer over the way I did, but it was just too time consuming to look at every single placeholder. So I kind of had to restart with all the placeholders that were created and let the system retest. So I hope that in month 8 we'll see some better optimization on the Ezoic earnings. So lessons learned: if you have any lists, try to make them a single block or group them together so Ezoic placeholders don't show up in between. Google takes a while to report indexing errors. So you'd expect that Google would tell me, hey, we crawled your site, but you have robots.txt files blocking. And Google did not report that until like 5 days or so after I noticed the problem. So that was definitely a problem on Google's side. And obviously I had fixed it at that point. So seeing that error 5 days after I fixed it was very concerning, but when I individually inspected the URLs, I was able to get the more accurate information. So if you're interested in checking the indexing of specific pages, check your pages that bring in the most traffic first, because Google might not tell you that there's a problem until 5 to 7 days later. At least that's what I saw. But it is possible to recover from a robots.txt error. From what I saw and have seen in my site, even though it got de-indexed for kind of a day, I was able to return right back to where I was. So goals for month 7, again, I want to stick with the 30 articles. I'd like to try to get $400 in affiliate revenue. I want to stay over 70,000 page views, reach $1,500 in ad revenue, and that's including the premium. Get that over $30 EPMV total, and then I want to edit all video ad placeholders and make a couple new videos. My major watchouts are the ads between lists, and hopefully I will also address that. So here's the general overview. So since the beginning of the year, since the site was born, I have profited $4,000 on the site, which is great. I've made almost $3,000 through Ezoic, almost $1,000 through Amazon, over $1,000 through Google Adsense, but I've also spent almost $1,000. That mostly came from the last month, but because I was seeing some good growth, I felt it was time to upgrade the hosting, change the theme, do all the things that I did this month. And if I continue to see that growth, those expenses are barely making an impact. So that's all I have for month 7. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you can take this information, compare it to your site, and see how you're doing in month 7. I know that my site is doing better than most people see in month 7 for a brand new domain, a brand new site, but I want to show you it is possible, and hopefully I can teach you something along my way, along, my journey. The last thing I want to mention too is that I will be having a truly public case study where I'm going to announce the domain, but I think I'm only going to post detailed information about this specific site through my email list. So definitely join my email list because you'll get exclusive content about that particular domain. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and my goal is to have that site up and ready for you all when I reach 1,000 subscribers. But it's going to go through how to make the site, how to add and change robots.txt, how to submit it to search engines, how to add Google Analytics, go through my keyword research method, go through my brand swapping technique. It's going to have everything. At least that's my goal. It's a lot of work, but I want to show you what I'm doing because you guys seem to be really interested. So thanks for watching. This is probably a little bit longer than normal, but thanks for sticking it out with me to the end. I'm LJ, this is Blog Sprout, and I'll see you in the next video.